All right, you lovelies, let's talk about Saltburn. Now, in the beginning, I'm going to keep this spoiler-free, and then I'll give you plenty of warning and dive into spoilers, because a lot of the things I loved about this film are spoilerific. So just to start, non-spoiler review of the film, this is everything I love in a thriller. This movie is bold, it is brave, it is salacious, it is intentionally R-rated, it is debaucherous, it is what you want out of this genre that a lot of films either don't have the freedom to make because the studio is too heavy-handed, because the budgets are too high, or they don't get the right tone and they end up delivering something that feels like it thinks it wants to be porn, whereas this is just raw sexually. This movie is so inspiring in what you can do with a smaller budget while making it look so stunningly big and garish and bold. This is what I want out of movies like Babylon. This is what I want out of movies that have the themes of Gatsby, but also in that unlikable protagonist version of things like Wolf of Wall Street or Triangle of Sadness, and the Eat the Rich commentary, while still using an unlikable protagonist, is so masterfully done here. You've got Jacob Elordi, who I've never seen Euphoria, so I had no exposure to, doing such powerful work, basically being this somehow impossibly likable, posh aristocracy figure who basically comes up with everything, like is raised in abundance to a degree that most people will never fathom, that is still somehow likable. This is the guy that should be your Flash Thompson. This is the guy that should be your piece of crap jock, but he's such a good person and he's got such a beautiful open heart. And everyone in this movie has a very exposed, open, beating heart. And I think that's one of the things about this next generation, Gen Z, that they absolutely have on certainly elder millennials and older, is they're so available. And that is on display here in really wonderful and often malicious ways. And I think that what he does is so beautifully vulnerable with this character and so real, and a role that's not often portrayed this way. And then, man, I'm getting to Barry Keoghan. I'm gonna save that for last, but I also got to give some love, as always, to Richard E. Grant. Anytime you can cast Richard E. Grant, cast Richard E. Grant. He brings this spontaneous, powerful energy to every single scene. He is always gonna deliver a line reading that you wouldn't expect that'll somehow still feel appropriate. There are moments that I belly laughed at just a glimpse, a face, a tick, a way of delivering something that were just absolutely incredible. And then I think maybe the MVP of this film, besides its lead in Barry Keoghan, is the absolutely insane performance. Just every bit of humor you want, every delivery you could possibly hope for, every impactful, emotional, and also painful laugh where you don't want to laugh or necessarily cry, but it makes you do both, is absolutely Rosamund Pike. Rosamund Pike here is giving a masterclass in what comedic timing is in a drama, or what dramatic acting can be in a comedy, and she nails both. And Rosamund Pike, I hope, gets the nom for Best Supporting Actress here. Barry Keoghan, man. This dude has been a masterpiece in everything he's in. He delivers a masterclass in everything he's in, whether it's delivering so much tricky, nuanced work in Eternals, which I'm a huge defender of, basically saying how the opiate of the masses is worth having, how it's worth being numb and an occult for the greater good, where he's in the Batman in a scene-stealing scene in the Joker. I personally enjoy his scene that was cut much more than the one they kept in the film. I like the one they kept in the film. If you haven't seen the 5-minute cut of the interrogation scene with Pattinson and Keoghan just acting their eyeballs out at each other, the little nuanced deliveries and the way he manipulates even just like his physicality to the frame, the way it's shot building up to this crescendo, it's like this musical orchestra. His delivery and the directing for Matt Reeves it's that 5 minutes is its own perfect mini film, and he is so good there. And he's following Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson. Like, this man had giant shoes to fill, giant clown shoes, and filled them. And then last year, Banshees of Inisherin, the amount of empathy and pain you feel for, well, there goes that dream as a character, the amount that you enjoy his joy of poaching and just his simple way of living, the fear for his father, the love he still had for his father, the love he had that was lost when our lead basically became mean, like he lost his innocence. Like the movie itself is about innocence lost amongst other things. It's about the fragility of masculinity amongst other things. And somehow Barry Keoghan represented all of that while stealing scenes from titans like Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, who are also like incredible in the film. There's a reason everyone, including Kerry Condon, got Oscar nominations in that film. And Kerry Condon too, man. That's another movie. It's another story. He is always exceptional. This might be my favorite work of his, and you should see this movie for its framing, for its editing, for its pizzazz, for its joie de vivre, for its just panache. It's so joyous in its arrogant depravity, and arrogant in a positive way. This movie just knows it fucks. End of non-spoiler. I gave you a lot of non-spoiler. I went about 6 minutes non-spoiler. I'm gonna wrap this up with some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, please get the fuck out of here, because one of the best things about this movie is the twist. Are you still here? Okay, we're gonna dive into the twist. We're going to be talking about the twist in 3, 2, 1. They got me so fucking good. The first half, I was so enveloped and sympathetic towards this broken man. And about halfway through, the lies become more apparent. And about halfway through, I was like, oh, there's a scene in the film where Jacob Elordi is talking with his family, and they mentioned this twin thing where someone sees someone in the background and they weren't there, and then soon thereafter they died. If you've seen the film, if you're still here for spoilers, you should know the scene. In that scene, Jacob Elordi walks in the background. He walks through the window in the background wearing the same shirt he's wearing. So I was like, oh, he's gonna die. And I thought it was gonna be a commentary on someone that came from nothing living with the rich. I thought it was gonna be him in Saltburn with the family, and like there was going to be a commentary on like how much we want that, the ambition, the drive. And I was right to a point. The ambition and the drive was there, but I did not anticipate half of the third act. I did not anticipate how much he'd been manipulating things, how much he'd lied about. And they gave us all the clues. They set up how much of he's a manipulator from the beginning. But it's the performance that is so passionately honest that you want to believe him. We have this amazing lead who has, like many of us, this eat the rich concept and this love for this impossibly likable guy. And even when he's doing the unthinkable, when he's going at Felix, Felix is the villain to distract us. Felix is a fuck, but we still feel enough empathy for Felix that when things go wrong, there's that slight glimmer. And then when he starts manipulating Felix to that level, by the time we get to that huge, incredible party, we don't know who to feel for, but I still never thought it would go as far as what he did, even after drinking the bath water, even after seeing the levels he would take things. I was so impressed that all of this was a long game to get his way, and that we never saw him as fully joyful as he did. This is one of those talented Mr. Ripley performances. This is that Primal Fear performance where we don't see the actual character until the last 5 minutes, where we don't see the truth. We don't see it's the usual suspects. We don't see that leg go straight until he's dancing naked through the mansion he earned himself. This man went from middle class, lower middle class to middle class, and the house is pretty big. Middle class, upper middle class maybe at best, but middle class, to aristocracy in a few years by being that manipulative and that clever and that hateful, that able to keep his eye on the prize and to go at the rich and take down this house and to earn this estate through every bit of malice and murder. And it's genius because they set up Richard E. Grant as someone that he knew not to fully mess with because he had a little bit more capacity than he seemed to let on. He knew exactly how to get to Rosamund Pike in the long game. He manipulated the sisters so beautifully, and they even called out how he was going to manipulate her by some of the things he said in the dialogue. And then fucking Jacob Elordi's grave. Literally fucking his grave. And like, to take a metaphor of like piss in your grave or, fuck him, and then combine that with like the drink your bath water. There's so many metaphors made literal, and there's so much just in this film. This is my number 4 film of the year. So far, I've got like 20 more movies to see. Actually, these are my favorites so far this year on the screen, and these are the ones I need to see right here on the screen. So I still have some more to see, but right now, this was my biggest surprise of the year. I didn't even have this it wasn't high on my must-watch list. It was on there, because of how much I fucking adore Barry Keoghan's performances, but I had no idea it'd land at number 4. Like, this is And the first three are like the IPs that I adore. Spider-Man, I was raised on, and that movie changed animation and changed how I see animation again after the first one did. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 3 stuck the landing on a perfect trilogy that I've been attached to in a franchise I've been attached to since '08. So between that and Barbie, which gave me a new Tyler Durden, I cannot fathom a year where this doesn't get number one without those three. Like, this would be a number one movie of the year for me if it hadn't been such a stacked year. Out of nowhere, I'm a huge fan of the director. Out of nowhere, I'm a huge fan of Jacob Elordi. Out of nowhere, I'm thinking like Rosamund Pike, best Oscar nom actress supporting for sure. God damn, what a movie. All right, this is a long review. If you haven't seen Saltburn, you shouldn't have fucking stayed for the end, because now you know the twist, and it's not going to be as fun of a reveal. It's also a slow burn twist, which I enjoy. It's not just like, but it's like twist the knife more, take it out, put it back in, fuck a grave. Goddamn. And I have never felt more like wildly belly laughing and so terrifyingly uncomfortable than licking the bathwater, man. And the scene where they have, it goes from the two umbrellas to like immediately cutting back to the two umbrellas after he dies. The laugh that came out of me was just evil and so loud. The audience I watched it with, I feel bad for, because they were not having the time I had, but they should have been. Okay, thank you so much for making this madness fennel. Thank you so much, Keoghan, if you're watching this. Much love, man. And dude, what a fucking movie. Go watch Saltburn. Support this movie. This is my Banshees of Inisherin this year. Last year, I screamed about that movie from the rooftops. This year, it's going to be Saltburn. I want a lot of Oscar love for this. Emerald Fennel, thank you for writing, directing, and sharing your soul so fucking salaciously, so beautifully and debaucherously. I needed this movie. Fuck, I love this movie. All right, much love, y'all. Follow me for more like this, and let me know in the comments what you thought of Saltburn, and let me know if there's other reviews of movies out right now you want to see, because I'm trying to do more reviews. All right. Also, didn't do a walk out of the theater review for this one because I was so overwhelmed by how much I loved it that I had to come and sit down the next day. All right. Much love. Bye.